Joining us now on the line is KT McFarland. She is, of course, the national security analyst and Fox News and host of FoxNews.com's DEFCON 3 show, which today can be seen or heard, both, at 12 p.m. on live.foxnews.com. KT, how are you?
Pleasure.
Listen, boy, we got a lot of stuff to talk about when it comes to Syria. It seems that we are poised. Seems that we are planning to lob a bunch of cruise missiles in the direction of Syria. And I guess my first question is, do you think this is a good idea and a good policy?
From what news reports say that we're going to destroy the weapons that carried the chemical weapons, I think that's a spanking. The way I look at it is there are 5 different options the president has. One is regime change. You know, the neocons want regime change. The Obama interventionists want regime change. The problem with Assad must go is what comes next could be even worse.
Well, this is my question. I mean, because we do this, it will not happen in a vacuum. It won't be boom, 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 3 days and it's over, because there will be a reaction.
Sure. I mean, we could do it a number of ways. We could do boom, boom, boom. We could arm the rebels. We could have significant military attacks against his significant military targets. Ultimately, it would be regime change. But what comes next? What's the new regime? And that, as we have seen with Iraq and Libya and Egypt, is often worse than what was there before.
Yeah.
So we could end up, we know that even the people who want to arm the rebels admit that the strongest rebel groups right now are al-Qaeda linked. So do we really want to get rid of Assad and put al-Qaeda in charge? That doesn't help us.
Well, and KT McFarland, you said the other day on Fox News that if we do a strike on Syria, that is a prelude to a decade of war in the Middle East. That's certainly not how it's being sold right now, based on the leaks that we're hearing, that it's just going to be a few days of strikes. Talk to me why you think this will be...
I don't think our involvement is going to be a decade. I think Syria itself, whatever we do, is a harbinger of a decade of where the world is going in the Middle East. I think that the Middle East is lining up on 2 sides of a divide. On one side is the Shiite Assad government, the Shiite Hezbollah terrorists, the Shiite Iran. On the other side of the divide is al-Qaeda, that's Sunni. It's the Sunni wealthy Arab oil states and some within it who want to support Islamic revolution from the other end. So I think that the Shiites and the Sunnis are lining up to fight each other in the fight of all fights, and anybody in the middle is getting crushed. I don't think that we're going to precipitate that with our involvement. I just think that's what's going to happen. And we can either spend the next 30 years being in the middle of it, one way or another, supporting this group, supporting that group, depending on the country.
Yeah.
Or we can take a bigger look and say, what do we want out of the Middle East? Oil. How do we get the oil? We've got some at home. Why do we need their oil? And if we don't need their oil anymore, then I don't think we need to be in the middle of this 30-year-long fight.
KT, I follow you on Twitter. Everyone should, by the way, KT McFarland. And you say on Twitter that we should leave Syria's civil war to the Syrians. But by hurting the Assad regime, aren't we, in a way, de facto taking sides because we are helping the groups who are trying to overthrow that government, including groups affiliated with al-Qaeda? I
would do one thing and one thing only. I would destroy the chemical weapons.
But is that possible?
So, I've read everything. I've yet to have a good answer for that. Some experts say, absolutely, we've developed weapons specifically to do that. They're called exotic agent defeat weapons. They're specifically designed to destroy chemical weapons without dispersing toxins into the atmosphere. Other people have said, no, anytime we would do that, we would just end up killing as many civilians as would be in the range of the toxins. I don't know the answer to that. If a military person can say to me, we've developed these weapons, it's not going to be risk-free, let's give it a shot, that to me is the right thing to do, is to show the world, and don't do it alone, do it with our allies, saying, anybody in the world, here's the message. You have chemical weapons, you use chemical weapons, we're going to we're going to take your toys away. We're going to destroy those chemical weapons.
You understand, like many people who've studied the issue, that Syria is armed to the teeth with anti-aircraft equipment, all kinds of anti-aircraft missiles. I mean, General McInerney was on yesterday. He went through a long list of what they have. It's formidable. And yet, I'm beginning to get the sense, because the British are moving some planes to Cyprus, one suspects, and McInerney suspects, American planes may have to enter Syrian airspace to get this job done. There is a pretty good risk there, is there not?
Yeah. That's why I think just destroy the chemical weapons. Don't try to destroy their war-making ability. according to news reports, the administration's thinking again it's just going to give him a slap in the face, like a spanking, to destroy a few of the machines that took the weapons to the place. Okay, in other words, the helicopters, the airplanes, but without seriously degrading Assad's war-making capability. I'm not sure that does a whole lot, because he's not deterred. He's still got the chemical weapons. Deliver them with other helicopters, with other airplanes.
Joe Biden, Vice President of the United States, he said yesterday that we believe, obviously, that those chemical weapons were used and that Syria needs to be held accountable. Here's the Vice President.
The President believes, and I believe, that those who use chemical weapons against defenseless men, women, and children should and must be held accountable.
But I don't remember that's kind of rhetoric from then Senator Biden with regard to the chemical attack on the Kurds. And also, what about Iran's blatant development of a nuclear weapon? Why shouldn't they be held accountable?
Well, you've raised all very good questions. I'm not going to talk about Senator Biden and his flip-flopping, or anybody in the administration's flip-flopping, including the president, who ran for the office on the saying that the casus belli for Iraq was false. Who knows if this is a false or not. I think Iran watches. If we just make more speeches, we pound a little bit of sand, we do something to show that the red line that President Obama threatened is something that the president can say that he honored, then I think Iran has there's no imperative to stop Iran. I don't think Iran's going to stop anyway. I think they've long since written off President Obama's red lines, threats, and speeches.
Well, I mean, and isn't that really what we're doing? I mean, we're going to be limited in scope and duration, we're told. We're going to fire a bunch of cruise missiles, maybe fly some planes in and drop a few bombs, and then we're going to get out of it. But are we doing this simply because we can't put our hands in our pockets and say chemical weapon use is okay? I mean, is that the only thing we're doing? Because otherwise it seems to be that the stated policy of the Obama administration is, okay, you government folks and you rebels, you just kill each other all you want to. We don't care, but you just can't use chemical weapons to do it.
That part of the world has been fighting brother against brother since Cain killed Abel. We're not going to stop the killing in the Middle East. I do think that it's an important stand to take to say, chemical weapons, nobody's going to use chemical weapons, and we're going to take away the toys. As far as, we're between a rock and a hard place, and frankly, President Obama put us there with an inconsistent Middle East policy, and a year ago I choked when I heard him say red line Syria, because I thought, God, every parent knows.
That's exactly right. You did.
Yep.
You
and
absolutely
you told
were.
us, too.
You told
I remember.
I remember it.
All right, KT McFarland, we've got to leave it there. Of course, she's Fox News national security analyst and host of FoxNews.com's DEF CON 3 show. Today it's at noon, by the way, usually at 10. Make sure you tune in at the right time, at noon. Thanks, KT.